thank you so much for joining us. Those that are watching us in the replay, thank you for signing up and watching this as well. So I know some of you guys, but those that haven't met me, my name's Alison Beadle. I'm a fitness instructor, yoga teacher, I suppose women's health person now. Have been working in the fitness industry for about 20 years. And as I've got older, I've kind of done stuff which has kind of helped me through my transition in life. So I did the pre and postnatal when I was at childbearing age, and then decided I wasn't going to do it. And then I've moved into the menopause and the third age studies as I've started to approach that, so that I knew that I could look after myself whilst living quite a demanding lifestyle. So that's kind of where I come from. I met Zoe, I don't know how many years now, a few years back in yoga. It's through yoga. We're both my kind of yoga instructors. And I met Zoe through that. And we've been going through our own unique little journeys. And one of the things we did as training up, we've all done various different types of yoga and things. So I've moved into menopause, and Zoe has moved into, well, she does yoga, but also face yoga. And when she first started talking about it, I thought, you know what? I really want to tie this into the menopause series webinars, because I do think there is some crossover. I think it's good for everybody, but I also think that there is some real crossover into menopause stuff, and we'll talk about that a bit later. So that's why I'm here. I asked Zoe to come and talk about face yoga. Partly I'm a bit selfish. I really want to know more about it. I'll be honest, I think I'm getting a bit jowly here, and I think my eyes are a bit baggy, more than so than they were before. And yes, I am a little bit superficial. I want to look youthful and radiant, but also there are lots of other benefits too, which we'll go through. One of the things that made me want to get Zoe on this the most is, if you look at Zoe, she does look radiant, doesn't she? Now, she hasn't got makeup on. I think she's got a little bit of blusher, but apart from that, there's no lipstick. That's her natural lip cover from doing face yoga. And having watched Zoe kind of transition, I mean, she's always looked nice, but actually I've seen the difference in the last year. And so I was just like, wow, I want that. So that's why I'm sharing Zoe with you today. So Zoe, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you started face yoga. Why did you get into it?
Well, I'm Zoe Mortimore, and I've been teaching yoga about 4 years now. Careering towards 50, that wonderful slide, and was starting to get perimenopausal. About 10 years ago, I picked up a book on face yoga, but it was actually called a facial exercise book, because I was curious, and lots of my friends were getting Botox and things, and I didn't really fancy it. It gave me the ick a little bit. So I picked up the book and I had a little look at it. But very much like yoga, if you are looking at poses in a book, you don't know whether you're doing it right. You don't know what you're doing. So I picked it up and put it back down. And then I'd had a couple of quite stressful years. Is interesting to say that. We had bereavements. We had moving Nan from a care home in Swansea into Bristol. We were taking care of her. And my son had been in a really serious accident that left him in intensive care, and lots of things going on whilst working in the NHS, whilst trying to learn to teach yoga. And I was getting a lot of, are you okay? Look a bit tired. Have you got a headache again? This is just my face. And I was started looking at myself and thinking, actually, looking at myself was making me feel tired. Also teaching yoga, I'm very up for holistic stuff. So I thought to myself, well, why does exercise have to stop at your neck? You've got 57 muscles in your face and neck. Why would you not train them like you would any other part of your body? So I started to look into it a bit deeper at lockdown time, and found Danielle Collins online. I live in the Chew Valley in Bristol, and she lives in Bath, and she's the world leading expert on face yoga. She was offering teacher training courses. Sorry, there is a dog barking outside. I'm sure it'll shut up in a minute. But I just thought, well, why not? Why not give it a go? At the very least, like Alison said, for myself, I'll give it a go. I was perimenopausal, started getting really irritant towards lots of skincare creams. So I was getting contact dermatitis. So I'd had to stop using all the fancy potions that they sell you. So I thought, well, that'll put it to the test. If it works on me, because I'm just using rose oil or rosy geranium face oil. And I started doing it and I started getting excited. It took me quite a long time to do my course because it was a study at your own pace course. And if you don't give me a deadline, then I'll still be doing it in 10 years' time if you don't make me do it. So,
oh dear, you're frozen, Zoe. Well, whilst she's frozen, let me tell you a little bit about why face yoga and what the kind of things that happen. Oh, she's gone and she's going to come back in again shortly. Why face yoga can actually, the things that happen through menopause that can affect your skin and particularly affect your face. So the first thing is with the drop in estrogen levels, your tissue, and in the previous webinars, if you've been with me, you'll know that I've said about your tissue hydration and elasticity lessons. So Zoe was just mentioning about how she was getting skin irritation, and that's because sometimes if your skin becomes drier, then if you're using that hydration, your skin will become drier and then you'll get a little bit rashy. So Zoe, oh, she's connecting to audio again. Welcome back. I was just explaining about skin irritation. I just need to unmute you.
I got kicked out, so I'm here on my phone now.
Oh, there you go. So I was just saying, whilst we were filling the gap, I was just saying the things that were happening in menopause that kind of affect your skin. So you lose the drop in estrogen causes less hydration and elasticity in skin, which means that I'm getting my jowly bits and my crinkles here. The other thing we get is because of that, it's not just in your face, you'll get a lot more, potentially you have more tension around your neck and shoulders, and your neck and shoulders are connected into your face. So it all kind of works. If your face is really tight, it can pull into your neck and shoulders are really tight, can pull into your face. And one of the things you can kind of, I mean, we tend to, generally the way that we live and sit, we're kind of here anyway, so we already create quite a lot of tension in our faces, but also the tension in your face can then affect things like sinuses. So I get quite bad sinus problems sometimes from my face muscles being so tight. And if you think about, if your face muscles are naturally tight anyway, and then you go through menopause or perimenopause and you're losing that elasticity and hydration, then any kind of things that you kind of just brushed aside before and you could probably just get away with, you're less likely to get away with. So that's kind of the one of the things, the way the menopause can actually affect your face. And the other thing is because your skin becomes, you become more sensitive to things in a way. And so for me, I struggle to lose a lot of products on my skin. I can be allergic to Nivea face cream. And I think I've had an aloe vera face mask before, and that's also made me allergic. So your body changes with the hormonal changes, you can be more sensitive to things as well. So therefore, the face cream that you used for the last 10 years that was perfectly great actually might now irritate you. So there's some of the menopausal things that can kind of affect your face and your skin, which is why face yoga is good for it. And I'm going to hand back to you there, Zoe.
Yeah, absolutely. You're quite right. And your collagen levels drop from the age of 35 anyway. You're unable to make as much collagen and elastin as you would have been able to previously. And with the neck and the shoulder tension, that can also, I mean, I've got a dodgy shoulder. It's no coincidence that my mouth goes down slightly on that side. The facial asymmetry can happen as well with neck and shoulder tension. So that's something that can be worked on with face yoga as well, and loosened up, and it revitalizes. Yes.
Brilliant. So now that we've kind of talked a little bit about kind of the menopausal skin, the menopausal face, and how face yoga can potentially be quite good for it. I mean, how does it work? What's the basis behind face yoga? Do you have to do you have to make stupid sounds and feel a little bit weird? Do you have to wear fancy yoga gear?
No, you don't. You just need somebody who can teach you how to do it properly. There are quite a lot of people online, on YouTube, doing it and doing it to a degree, but I had one of my participants who'd come to my workshops come to me and say, I've been doing this thing where I do this and now I've got lines around my mouth. I was like, that wasn't on my workshop, was it? She said, no, I found somebody on YouTube. And I mean, it was all very well and good, but you should never create lines. Now, if you've got lines anyway and you're doing face yoga, then, you know, you can smooth them out a bit, but you should never create lines. So first things first, always find a good face yoga instructor who's certified. You don't need to do anything. You don't even really need to exercise if you don't want to. Obviously, a healthy, balanced lifestyle is what you're aiming for to help. But you just need to show up and treat it like any other workout. You know, if you go to a yoga class on a Thursday, Friday, you know, whatever you do, you can just take your time to do this and just make it part of your routine in front of the TV when everybody's all looking in the same direction. You can do some facial exercises. But yeah, the first things first is to make sure that you've got somebody who's certified.
Oh, that's brilliant. So anyone can do it, which is fantastic. You can do it anywhere. I have to say, I was one of my participants in my yoga class was telling her about this the other day, and she said, "Oh yes, I do that. I do it in the car, but when I'm a passenger." But she said, "I only do it when I get out of London. Otherwise, people think you're giving them dirty looks." It did make me laugh quite a lot because I can just imagine her pulling faces and people just looking in the paper and going, "What's she doing?" So it's kind of nice that we know that we can do this. So let's bring it a little bit closer into the kind of perimenopausal, menopausal muscle and facial structure. And at this point, I might even pull up an image of all the muscles as well so that you can see. Bear with me, this might go wrong. But Zoe, how can it help menopausal people in particular?
Well, it can help menopausal people in particular because it really gets into, you've got 3 layers of your skin. You've got the top layer, your epidermis, the middle layer, which is the fatty tissue layer that produces collagen and elastin, which is the dermis, and then the very bottom layer, which is the hypodermis. And that sits on top, if you can see this image on the screen, all of these muscles. Now, if you look at these muscles, they're tiny. When you look at them up to the muscles in your body, they're really small. So they're incredibly receptive to exercise. We've been told time infinitum not to touch our face. And usually that's been also propagated by beauty companies because, you know, they want to buy you want you to buy a fancy skin cream. But when you're doing face yoga, it gets down all 3 layers of your skin, right down into the muscle. So by working and stimulating the muscle, the fatty layer in between, you're really getting in and being able to stimulate more collagen and elastin along with a good diet and taking care of yourself in the way that you should.
Perfect. So that was a nice, I mean, you don't realize, you don't think about, you know that you have muscles in your face, but you don't actually realize quite how many you have. And I think it's an important thing to acknowledge that, you know, we don't generally stretch our faces, or we don't actively try and relax our faces, and yet we spend a lot of time doing that for the rest of our bodies. So why not the face? It makes a lot of sense. So we've established that it can help with kind of it can help with your skin hydration. It can help with releasing tension. I know one person in particular who grinds her jaw from tension, and then because she grinds her jaw, then the muscles get really tight here, and then it radiates up into the head, and then she gets headaches. So it can also, face yoga can actually potentially be preventative in headaches. Would you say, Zoe?
Yeah, definitely, because you can work on that. It also helps with any sort of tooth grinding, because when you're actually just massaging and relaxing muscle, it really does help. It helps all of the areas. You know, I spoke with you before about, you know, when you're doing the supermarket shop and you're walking around the supermarket and you're thinking about all the things that you've got to do and what you're going to make for tea and all the things, and then you put your stuff in the car and you look into the unforgiving driver's side window and you see what been holding your face like for all that time. You sort of you know, when we get to perimenopause, menopause, we're holding our face in tension quite a lot, and we don't realize we're holding our face in tension, and you get used to the pattern. When we're younger, it bounces back. There's enough going on there that it just bring back to normal, everything's fine. But when you start to get older, you hold that for quite a long time, and then you end up with your number 11 lines, and you're, oh my god, you know, I call them my WTF lines, and and you end up holding that tension. So face yoga is really very useful in breaking the patterns that you're actually holding for yourself.
So that saying that the wind can change if you pull the face and your face will get stuck is quite true then?
Absolutely, it came from somewhere, and yeah, it's absolutely true.
So we've talked about the physical benefits, but let's also talk about the kind of self-confidence, the well-being things. I mean, I've already mentioned that I look at myself now on a screen in the mirror when I watch myself recording webinars, and I think, God, I look middle-aged. Yes, I am middle-aged. That's fine. I should just suck it up and get used to it. But sometimes you want to do something to make yourself feel better, I think. And for me, as well as I see the kind of physical benefits to actually improving my skin and the tension around my face and reducing sinus pain or potentially headaches, you have to kind of also think about the mental health effects as well. Because if you feel good, if you feel like you look good, it makes us feel a bit better, doesn't it?
It does. It is very much a chicken and egg situation. You know, if you look good, you feel good, or if you feel good, you look good. Which is it? But you know, there's no denying that it's the irony of, you know, the minute you get to this point where you're really happy with yourself, you're middle-aged, you know yourself really well, suddenly your self-confidence starts to plummet because you feel yourself changing. And that's how I felt, you know, to completely and totally honestly, that's how I felt. You know, I had bags under my eyes. I had no idea that I could do lymphatic drainage on myself. It wasn't bags that were going to stay there for the rest of my life. Your lymphatic system hasn't got a pump like your circulation system. It doesn't just move things around on its own. If you massage your face and do facial exercise and drain towards your lymph nodes, you can drain your eye bags away. And nobody tells you that. They just tell you, don't touch your face, and please do buy this eye cream. And that can kind of perpetuate the lack in self-confidence, because you're then feeling like you're handing over your power to an industry, or, you know, a surgeon, or a beauty cream seller, when in actual fact, it's right at the end of these little arms is all you really need. And you don't want to be, I don't want to be 25. I've been there, you know, it was great, but I've done that. But what I want to be is the best version of myself. They say that body yoga reveals who you are in your natural state. You know, you go there and it doesn't ask you to change. It just asks you to reveal yourself in your natural state. And I think that face yoga does the same thing. You know, it just reveals you underneath all the stuff that life does to you, and gives you that back. And I, for one, appreciate it greatly.
I like that. I mean, it was actually, you mentioned about eye creams and the expense. I mean, there's actually a menopause range now, isn't it? I'm not going to name who it is, but there's a brand that have come out like that have launched a whole menopause range of skincare. And I think, good God, it's just, and one of the things I kind of wanted to flag up with all these kind of fancy creams and stuff is, first of all, do you know what's in them? Yes. Because there is a lot of rubbish in creams. And then, yeah, the second thing to think about is one of the things that affects our hormonal balance and our bodies during menopause, perimenopause, even postmenopause is, and even before you hit menopause, is environmental toxins. So many people kind of, you know, start putting all these extra creams on and stuff, thinking it's going to do miracles, but actually you're putting more chemicals into your body. You're putting more things that can potentially be harmful for your body, and they accumulate. So whilst, yes, there are some very good quality things out there, and I'm not going to say all face creams are bad, at the same time, just be mindful that, you know, that the $1 million kind of is going to sort your face out within 10 days kind of, you know, Pro Q with extra retinol and vitamin B, space buds or whatever, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know, that may not necessarily be the thing. And if you've got your fingers, then you can do something about this. So I know you guys have been waiting on how to try it.
It's
Give us a top tip. Now, I was trying this the other day and I cannot move my eyebrows with my eyelids without moving my eyebrows, I've discovered. It's impossible for me, but so we can teach you.
Let me slink in a bit here. Right, I might have to take the glasses off. So you, God knows, I might come off the screen because I won't be able to see you. But
I was going to say, guys, if you want to try it, you can turn your cameras off if you're a bit scared, or you can just show us your fun faces.
Even use it as like a mirror, because to be honest, at the moment I can only, because I'm on my phone, I can listen anyway. We do a lot of because we're looking at computers, we're looking at phones, so we don't move our eyes around, and that makes our orbitalis oculi, the calamari muscle around your eye, quite weak. And what happens is we use our forehead to compensate for that. So first of all, I'll just ask you if you can place your hand on your forehead and look up without raising your eyebrows. It's kind of hard to do, isn't it? So you just kind of look up, and then if you look down, it's really flipping easy. And then just look to the center, close your eyes just for a second to give them a rest, and then open them wide, and then try to look up again. Okay. So if you have managed to successfully keep your eyebrows from raising, so you haven't got forehead lines here, you're not raising them, you're just kind of keeping them straight. I'm going to ask you to make a gummy O shape with your mouth. So your mouth is going to go into an O shape. So we're going to suck the lips inside the teeth. So bringing them in. If, like me, you've got a couple of lines here, you might want to just take a second to smooth them out and change your face shape into an O where you're not actually creating the lines. Okay, now with that gummy O shape still in place, you're starting to engage the muscles at the bottom of your face. I want you to place your fingers, your index fingers, lightly either side of your nose. So they're going to act like tiny, weeny little weights. You've got your gummy O shape. You're going to look up, and then you're going to flutter your eyelashes. So I'll show you right now. Now we're doing all of this whilst breathing. So I want you to be breathing in and out through your nose. I'm going to put my glasses on, check. Alison, are you breathing? So take deep breaths in and out your nose as you're doing it. So pulling it in.
I find it very hard to breathe through my nose doing this, to be fair.
And then release. There we go. Now I don't, because I did it earlier, it's kind of pumped my lips up a wee bit. But this will stretch and tone the entire lower part of the face. The fluttering of the eyelashes is going to get this little bit here. It gives us a bit of a hooded eye, but there's a tiny weeny muscle up here. And that tends to drop as our eyebrows get a bit heavier. The looking up motion is going to strengthen the frontalis at the front of your head for your eyebrows, because we're not wrinkling, we're keeping it straight. And it's like a whole blood flow whoosh into your face. So there you go.
That's brilliant. My face feels really warm from that now, but also yeah. I really still cannot move my eyelids without moving my eyebrows. My eyebrows are just super mobile.
That's fine. That's fine. It comes. You just do it a little bit at a time, and it does come, but you feel that rush of blood to your cheeks.
Do you know what's really funny is everybody turned their cameras off, so we couldn't see their faces. Well, spoil sports, eh?
They are spoil sports. That's fine. I could only see me and you because I'm on my phone now, but that's absolutely fine.
So, I mean, you've shown us that, I mean, there are so many things to do. I mean, but is it something that we have to do daily? I mean, I'm rubbish with skincare routines. I hold my hand up, I wash my face with water, and I might just put some rose oil on my skin before I go to bed at night. But generally, I don't cleanse. I generally don't spend loads of time doing day moisturizer, night moisturizer, exfoliate, all that kind of stuff. What do you know, is it something you can get away with doing once and then you have a miracle face, or what do we need to do?
You know, like how it's incredibly cruel and unfair that when you do like one sit up, you haven't got a six pack. It's kind of like that. So that's why I say you approach it like you would your workout. Now, the optimum, when I did my training, they said, you know, the absolute optimum that you're aiming for, 20 minutes a day, 6 days a week. Now, most people haven't got time for 20 minutes a day, 6 days a week. But if you've got time for 5 minutes a day, that's fine. If you've got time to sit in front of the TV and do it, if you've got, when you're driving in the car, if you kind of like just do the O shape and just open your eyes wide, people will think you are mad. That's fine. You can say your grandmother was driving the car because they'll say I look like you, but had no teeth. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. But just allowing a little bit, and it's like with body exercise, when you start to feel things happen, you get this boost of confidence and this boost of like, oh, you know, it feels a bit different. You know, I've sent you pictures, and if you looked at my Instagram, there are pictures where I was looking pretty damn tired. And when it starts to go, it makes you feel a lot better. It makes you feel like things are working. So, oh, what have we got here? So you can see that picture. I never use filters when I'm doing before and afters because I think it's a cruel and unfair trick. So the one in the middle is my lips and lip plumping. So I'm a bit naughty with environmental toxins. I do put fake tan on because I have Celtic skin, and I would frighten the neighbours if I went out with no fake tan on sometimes in the summer. But yeah, 2021, 2022, I had the lips were plumped up from it. And I used to smoke, and I had smoker's lines around the top lip, and they smoothed out. And if you go along to the other one, that is a demonstration of my eye bags. I was carrying a lot underneath my eyes, and it was getting me down. And after, it cheered me up a bit.
There you go. So I just thought I'd share those. Now, guys, do you have any questions you'd like to put to Zoe? So if you stick them in the chat, pop them in the chat, or if you don't mind being on the recording, you can speak out, and it's up to you. But pop them in the chat and we'll have a little look. It's all very quiet. There's always everyone's scared to do one, and then one starts one and everyone else does one.
Yeah, now's your chance. Ask me anything.
Ask her. How do I? There we go. No questions.
No.
There you go. It's fair enough. But oh, there you go.
I just saw it pop up. So are you all right to read that to me?
Yeah. Do you need to sign up for eight weeks or 1 day?
Ah, right. Okay. Well, I'm doing workshops at the moment. If anybody wants to come to a workshop or Zoom in, they can do that. And I go through things. And you can do a workshop. You can have the exercises to take home, and you can do it yourself, and you can see how you get on. I'm working on a program where I'm going to be doing a 6-week program where I give you exercises, do a check-in an hour a week, and see how you're getting on, and give tips, and have you at you have me at your complete disposal. But you do have to do it regularly. So if you're planning on doing it yourself without any input from me or any other face yoga teacher, consistency is key, just like it is with anything else. Consistency is key. So even if you do 2 minutes a day, every day, 2 minutes a day is great. You might end up wanting to do 5 minutes a day then. And then you might think, okay, I'm taking myself off for 20 minutes and I'm going to do 20 minutes. And then you might not do a little bit long, you might not do it so long the next time. But the good thing is, like I said to you before, the muscles in your face are so tiny that if you start doing it and then you get a bit kind of despondent and then you take it back up again, there is a muscle memory there. So it will certainly help.
Well, that's good to know, actually, the whole muscle memory thing, because I mean, those of you that train and stuff, or have done training in the past, you when you start a new program or a new exercise, I think the first few times you'll find it's quite hard to do, and then you'll get it, and then you'll just be absolutely amazing at it, and then you won't do it for a few months. But when you come back, you kind of, the first couple might be a bit dodgy, but after that you kind of pick it up. So it's good to know that your facial muscles are going to be pretty much the same. So Paula's just put, we got lots of questions coming in now again. Hang on, let's see. So Paula says, can it help with a wonky face?
It certainly can. The second picture that I showed of the lips, the tip of my nose is going off to one side, and it's straightened my nose from doing the exercises. But if you feel that you've got a wonky face, depending contextually, it might be if you've got one cheek slightly puffier than the other. If that's the problem, is that the problem? You can just put yes or no, or if you feel that's the case, or one side where you've got like a bit more of a line here, or if you're a side sleeper, that's something that can happen. If you think that at 7 hours of the night you're led on your side, you will end up with weakening of the facial muscles on one side, because you're holding it like this for a very long time. And like I said before, when we're in our 20s, it's not really that much of a big deal because it'll puff back up again. But when we get older, like when you wake up and you've got bed crinkles, they stay a little bit longer when you've got less collagen, elastin in your face. So there is every chance that if you're a side sleeper, sleeping on your back would really help with that, along with facial exercise.
I actually have, when I watch myself back recording, when I talk out of one side of my mouth more than the other. The first time I noticed it horrified me, but I've grown to get used to that now. But I would like to make a difference with that as well.
As well, neck and shoulder tension can also do it too.
Oh, so there you go. Kay has just put, will that exercise help with neck and shoulder tension as well?
That one won't help particularly with neck and shoulder tension. Before we do any facial workout proper, we'll always start, that's why I think it's more towards the yoga side than any other workout side. We will start, I'm getting a bit dark in here, we will start with a relaxation and shoulder rolls and neck stretches and lots of different things, and we'll do that again at the end, where we're able to massage into the neck and do lots of different things. So that really does help with the neck and shoulder tension. The very fact that you are in a state of relaxation, you're amongst friends, you're amongst people that are it's a safe space, that also helps you relax. And I think that's half the battle, really. And then once you get that tension out of your neck, shoulders, you feel more relaxed, and you feel like you're empowering yourself. I think that can help melt away a lot of tension.
I think purely, I know that if Paul and I did this together, we would just spend a lot of time laughing at each other, because my sister, she pulls a lot of faces anyway. She's better at pulling faces than me, but I think we would just release a lot of tension just by laughing.
You must, and laughing is so good and it's so important, and God, we need to laugh. So yes, I encourage people to laugh in my workshops, because it's probably the best thing that anybody can do.
Absolutely. But there you go. Let me just check there's any more questions. Otherwise, I think we'll leave you guys to hang on the rest of your evening. No, we're all good. Does anyone else have any questions? No, I think we're all good. Well, thank you so much for joining us, taking your time out of your diaries to join us today. Thank you, Zoe, for taking time out of your diary to chat with me today and explain a little bit more about it. And Zoe is doing her face yoga workshop on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Is that right?
It's 1 o'clock till 2:30. Yeah.
Okay, and it's £25, is it? Is that right?
£25, yeah. It's on my socials if you copy and paste the information there, or you can always message me at any time and I can let you know what's coming up.
Amazing. But yeah, no, I'm definitely going to start trying to do something, because I look at my face and think I would like to change it a little bit, but also in terms of just making my sinuses better, I would like to, create less tension around my sinuses. I think would be really helpful. And I certainly know people that from releasing tension around the jaw, you can be very preventative with headaches and migraines. And, people get headaches and just take paracetamol, but don't really think of the source of whether it could be dehydration or whether it's fascia tightness or whatever. So, knowing that you could potentially do something to alleviate it before you hit the migraine stage is amazing.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you very much, Alison, for giving me the opportunity to chat about face yoga.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you very much, guys. Have a lovely evening. Keep an eye out on the next couple of webinars. I'm going to be doing women's health massage, which is it's named fertility massage, but it's incredibly helpful for things like endometriosis and fibroids, and just maintaining a healthy womb, because again, you have healthy blood flow to the womb, it means your womb and uterus are going to be better. And then I'm also got a thyroid health coming up. I'm talking with someone who was born with no thyroid. Yeah, I know, amazing. So it's like and the thyroid is so important for so many things in the body. So she's actually studied it and doing a doctorate in thyroid health. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you guys as well, because, you know, if she can manage with no thyroid, then as our thyroid function changes potentially through menopause, it just shows that we still have a chance of doing that too. But thank you very much, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Any further questions, you've got our contact details, just drop us a mail. And I hope to see you again in a webinar soon.